There's no sound.
Never mind. Start it up and just start talking when it's live.
Yeah, we're live.
We're live. Okay. There we go. Oh yeah, I can hear it. Me. As always, what brilliant stuff.
Yeah, I know. We do such a good job. We're incredible. Yeah, what happened to the sound, Simos? Yeah, okay, I'll see if I can get that to work in some manner on StreamYard. I don't know. I'm going to have
You have to pay for it, I think. You're right.
Yeah. Well, there's got to be a way to share a video clip, I think, or something. Anyway, we are live. Hello, everyone.
Hello. So, let's see who's here. Hello to Spooky and Scott and Robin. Allegedly Fred. Welcome, welcome. I killed Earl early today. Thank you so much for attending. It's great to see you. Sydney Raptor. Thank you very much. From the Blast from the Past. Allegedly Fred. Been there. Tori. Hello, Tori. Nice to see you. And Dave. Yay for Dave.
Hey, Dave. Future of the Earth is here. I don't know what that is, but first truth in the Bible is there was a flood on Mount Ararat. Future of the Earth. Huh. He might be an interesting one to keep an eye on.
Yeah. Fun for the chat. Thank you for attending Future of the Earth. We really appreciate that.
Really
and Laborious Creighton, welcome. And of course, Professor Hizzle, always good to see you, sir.
Yeah. We got a little cell Cordova today. I kind of want Scott to get back from whatever he's doing with his dog. He's doing something with his dog. I'm not going to ask a lot of questions.
Best not to, but I think we can assume, because he's a true Scotsman, that it's perfectly legal.
Hopefully. So anyway, Cordova just did a video the other day pushing back on Dr. Dan, and it just kills me to hear how confident he is in his bullshit, and everything he says is wrong. It's just pretty incredible. And he's so confident. I figured, like, he makes some logical errors in this thing that are just egregious. And it's almost easy to miss them because they're so weird and simple. And I started to think, okay, he is a person who has a very, very average or slightly below average IQ. And he learned to study. And I've known a few people like that really can't think outside of the box at all. They're not capable of even understanding, when they're making logical errors, yet they know a lot of terms and things. I mean, they can actually get a B in college,
Indubitably.
But it's and I kind of think that Cordova must suffer from that because of the errors he makes in this video around genetic entropy and human intelligence and things like that are just unbelievable.
Well, I mean, there's something almost impressive about Sal Cordova's ability to approach a scientific question, misunderstand the premise, misunderstand the evidence, and then somehow emerge convinced that he has destroyed the entire field of science.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
And then the cherry picking he does, and he's always, like, throughout this entire video, he's saying, no, this is a high-ranking biology evolutionist, a high-ranking, Michael Lynch and Koonin and all the guys that, made a lot of noise publicly. And part of the reason that they made a lot of noise publicly is because they would go out and say crazy-ass shit in interviews and pick on they were trying to find a new paradigm for evolution that was a lot more complex than the simplified natural selection mutation thing, right? So they made a lot of noise, and they ended up creating a lot of fights, at conference, like sometimes fist fights at conferences, these guys. But anyway, Sal has this high-ranking biologist says Darwin was wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hell of a critique. It's a hell of a critique. Almost like he knew the guy.
Yeah. And then if you go and look at the context of what they were saying, they're all very much advocates of evolutionary biology and evolution. None of them, not one of them, have push back on evolution. And then he mentions Brett Weinstein as being one of the high-ranking evolutionary biologists. You know who that is, right?
I do, yeah. That's Eric's brother. Eric's stupid brother.
Yeah. And he's got a degree in evolutionary biology, and he has done some work in evolutionary biology, but nothing notable. He's not a high-ranking, but anyway,
not
that's
anymore.
Not anymore. Not after he came out for ivermectin and a bunch of other bullshit.
Yeah.
Did some anti-vax stuff and all kinds of crazy crap. Where the hell is Scott? So I can play. Oh, I got to share the video.
I'm already back.
The weather report. Okay, I'm going to play the clip. I kind of went back a little bit from where you were, Scott.
So I just kind of got in the general neighborhood.
Yeah.
Good. So this is going to be Jaco Pastorius, is it?
This could be what?
Jaco Pastorius.
I still didn't get that.
Oh, right. He's the bass player in the weather report.
Oh, okay. Okay. Here it is.
Oh, yeah. That's Jaco. Yeah, I can see him right there. Okay, I'll send you a video just so you can appreciate later.
Okay, I'm going to play this.
Scott, before we do, Scott, you know Jaco Pastorius? Who Jaco Pastorius is to you?
Actually, I don't.
Oh, my goodness. All right. I'm just basically talking to you now so I can remind you about your keyboard typing.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not typing right now, so it worked.
Yep, there we go. Oh dear. Let me sort that out for you guys. I'm surprised at you a little bit here, Scott, because and maybe a little disappointed. I don't know.
Okay, I may have gone back.
Jeff, or because of having a hat like that.
I may have gone back too far, but let me go ahead and play that.
I just stick it in private chat for you.
When he opens his mouth too much, he kind of makes one feel that he doesn't know as much as he wants us to think he does.
There you go.
Yeah. And I'll just come out and say, I know nothing. So
I know nothing. And then there's this famous.
I think it's a little embarrassing.
Goodell's completeness theorem here mentioned. No, so that's one book. A book on variational mechanics, variational calculus, including Lagrange and Hamiltonians. Does this mention Gödel's incompleteness theorem? And I looked, and I did look before I came on the show, so I'm not going to bother paging through it. No mention of it.
No mention.
You tell me what it is.
Dude,
you tell me what the proof is. You're just listing things.
You like have any defense except to interrupt me when I'm talking?
Yeah,
quantum mechanics. The only people there with quantum mechanics, not Gödel's.
That's going to mention surely. No.
These are my
Nathan, you're not listening to what he's saying.
Gödel's incompleteness theorem there. Handbook of mathematical functions.
Nathan, I'll let you respond. Please be quiet.
Abrahamowitz and Stegan. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Introduction to probability and applications. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem.
Oh, I'm surprised.
Mathematics and options trading. No mention of Gödel's theorem. Elementary numerical analysis. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Electrical engineering. Laplace transform solving circuits.
Yeah. Not a single bookmark in any of those books.
General relativity. Differential non-Euclidean geometry. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Mathematical analysis by Apostle. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Freshman calculus. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem.
What? I can't believe
Discrete
that.
Mathematics. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Mathematical structures. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem.
Oh, that one should have.
Linear algebra. And on page 27 is identifications, which you asked me about. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem.
Yeah.
Linear algebra. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem.
2 times
Contemporary
speed.
abstract algebra. No mention of Gödel's incompleteness theorem. So what was this point of me showing all this? Just because I didn't.
Yeah, what was the point?
Yeah. Point is to show you got a lot of books you've never read. Can I just, if you could share my screen a second and put me on the big screen.
Put you on the big screen. Where are you? This one? Let's see. Well, did you share something? No.
I'm about to, yeah. But I need to. There we go. My energy bill. No mention of incompleteness theory.
There you go.
Just incomplete payments.
Oh, yeah. Oh no, hang on a minute. No, I'm looking at the back. It does mention incomplete Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Yeah, in the back it does. Yeah, in the small print. It's always in the small print with the bills, isn't it?
They get you. They get you with that small print.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, there you go.
Anyway, that was he was talking to Nathan, and he clearly didn't know. I think he was. He was talking about Russell.
And Nathan asked him a simple, like algebraic question. I'm sure it's something really simple, like
something
just
about Russell,
just some particular term or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Sal just went. He said, "So you know how to solve this, then, do you?" And he said the simple, like whatever. And Sal went, I know the incompleteness theory. Yeah.
Yeah. And it shows him running, scurrying back into his library to get all these books. It's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Classic Nathan. Classic Nathan.
Yes. Let's see. So, answers to me. Oh, that's me. Remove. I want to remove that one. Wait a minute. Oh, why am I such a loser? Let's see. Oh, stop. Okay, we got a video. So correct. I don't know. There's a lot in here, and we could talk a little bit about evolution, but I'm probably gonna bore you guys again. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll turn out okay. But it's the best I got today. You gotta give me a break.
Okay, well, let me just say a couple of welcomes. Welcome to Jamie Russell. Thank you so much for coming by. Appreciate that, of course. Welcome to Kevin. Thank you, Trustee. Nice to see you. Always good to see you here. Welcome to Top Dong. We're very honored to have the mighty Top Dong here. And allegedly Fred we've seen, so that's great. And welcome to the One True Scotsman on the panel. So yeah, there we go.
So Sel caught Dr. Dan, just really just caught him saying something that really disproved evolution. And that's what he starts out with here. So
okay.
Play it.
Cite anyone that thinks our genome's improving.
No. Yep. Cite anyone that thinks our genome is improving. And Dr. Dan says, no. He can't cite anybody that would say our genome is improving, because that isn't how evolution works, you idiot.
It's a ridiculous statement.
Yes, our genome is improving. It's like he's got this whole thing with fitness. And when I first started out with Sal, when we were still chummy, he had this whole thing with fitness, and he could not get it through his head that there's a couple of different ways to use fitness. Now, Darwin used it as the survival of the fittest, whatever fit the environment the best would survive. And then population geneticists use fitness as a mathematical term. So what they will do is they'll pick a standard fitness, right, which is 1.0, and that produces one offspring per generation, or you can have a multiplier, but anyway, and then if something is a little more fit, it'll produce 1.1 offspring per generation. If it's less fit, it'll produce 0.9 or 0.7 or whatever. And that is the real true use of fitness in evolution. Just how many offspring an organism produces. So that's the important thing to understand. But there are several definitions of fitness, and now Sel, his definition of fitness is engineering perfection, like designing a plane to be aerodynamically perfect. And he can't get it out of his head. That doesn't have a goddamn thing to do with evolution. Nothing at all. Anyway. So, no. What does he do? No, I don't want to.
I'm Salvador Cordova. Glory and honor to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
In this segment, I'll talk about the moment that Dr. Dan lost the genetic entropy and the evolution debate. Fundamentally, this is about evidence. It's not about what I say or what other people say, including my distinguished boss, Dr. John C. Sanford, my colleague.
Yeah, he's kind of Sanford retired. He invented some stuff and he did some good work in plant genetics, and then he retired. And then he wrote this stupid book, Genetic Entropy, and then he did a talk, and everybody looked at him and like, what the hell are you talking about? and then he went on to now he does weird pamphlets, and Sel's going to show one of them on fitness, where he's talking about fitness as some sort of using medical markers to find out how healthy a person is or some goddamn thing. He's just gone off the deep end. And then he's got his stuff on transgender, and he's got stuff on sexual revolution. He's got all these pamphlets he's doing. But Sanford is a young earth creationist who clearly is senile. That's all I can figure. He lost function of his brain. It's a problem. Anyway. But let's see. What do we got? Oh, Cell. I'm not sure if Cell's a lot of fun, but let's see what we got here.
Well, he's not a lot of fun. I guarantee you that. Yeah. But you know, he is. You know, he's laughable. So there is.
He's not a barrel of monkeys, but he does wear suspenders, which I find somewhat suspicious.
Okay.
Why don't you just buy pants that fucking fit?
Or maybe he just wants to be an archaeologist.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I'm not sure about this.
Or he wants to be a Southern lawyer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that means if the human genome is always changing, if it's not improving, it must be changing for the worse. That is simple.
There you go. If it's not improving, it must be changing for the worst.
Yeah, he bad conceptions or strong misconceptions this guy's suffering from, or he did in the past. Maybe he's conceded that fitness isn't like total buff improvement. Like I imagine a bear out there doing pull-ups on an oak tree to improve his fitness, so that I guess he can get all the bear babes. That seems to be his idea. Like which tiger can do the most push-ups or something.
I guess so.
It kind of strikes me that if in order for that statement to be true, you'd have to hold the variable of the environment as completely stable without any change.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe under those circumstances, it would be true what he said. And the fact that he thinks it's true presumably means that he doesn't understand what natural selection is.
And why would there be diversity? So if we had a universal common ancestor, right? And we were only looking for the most fit, or the perfect. I mean, it had to be changing for the better. Why would there be a diversity of life? Why wouldn't there just be one super life, right? The super life cell, that just would have moved forward and always, increasing. And just now, it's just so and he claims to have studied this stuff. Like,
oh, fuck off. Like, he's a pseudo-intellectual. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He believes in the big G, right? And so he deliberately follows only the science. I put science, pseudoscience of creationism, and that has to have some explanation. And what he's good at doing is being blind. He's being very selective about the information that he uses to come to conclusions. Like I say, if you just look at mutation by itself without looking at natural selection, you're not looking at evolution. And that's what he's just proved by saying such a dumb sentence as, oh, well, is just show me, a human he's the human genome improving. Well, it would only be improving if the environment was changing drastically, right? Because then we'd have to change, right, in order to adapt to the environment. That would be an improvement. Okay, it wouldn't necessarily be a genetic improvement, but it would be improvement of the species because we'd be adapting to the new environment, which is obviously better. So maybe in another 100 years' time, when global warming has really hit the planet hard, right? Maybe everybody will just have a lot of melanin in their skin because all the white people will just die. You know?
Yeah. And there isn't
Who
just
knows?
one organism having offspring, right? It's a population. And sometimes like a major improvement could develop, or something had was really a hell of a lot more fit than anything else, but a rock dropped on it and it died. So it drifted out of the population, right? And so it's a little more complicated than this silly man's idea inside of his head that it either has to be improving or devolving, one or the other. It's just like bullshit. Pretty crazy. Yeah. Well, see what else.
Simple logic. And I caught him.
No, you didn't.
In that moment. Now,
it's not a fucking
back
chance.
then I was
him.
You did
not a fucking chance.
He caught him just honestly telling you that no, that's not what evolution is about, idiot.
Yeah, and he doesn't realize that it's because you have the wrong conception, Mr. Cordova. So you're not even wrong. That's just the wrong question to ask.
Yeah, exactly. You're not even wrong.
The context.
You're just irrelevant. I mean, I'd also say, like, you know, I mean, I've read Darwin, and there is at no point in the book did I ever read about the incompleteness theory. So,
no,
just wanted to point that out.
See, the range is a lot of what comes from biochemistry, chemical gradients, and patterning and such. Okay, let's see.
Naive about how debates go, and I thought people would be better good faith actors in debate rather than kind of like sketchy tactics, where when I finally make a credible point that is extremely significant.
He's always trying to figure out why nobody takes him seriously.
Yeah.
That's
and missing the mark. This is what he's incredibly good at doing. He's like I said, he's incredibly good at, you know, what's the thing here? To me, he misunderstands the argument, misunderstands the evidence, and then somehow gets convicted or convinced, and he's just destroyed the entire scientific field. So like, he's so good at doing that. He's so good at just missing the relevant parts, right, and just taking isolated parts and saying, "Oh, well, that must be what it's all about." Like I'm saying, he's separated the two things there, right?
Yeah.
Natural selection, he's just ignoring completely. So, unbelievable.
His protein orchard thing that he goes around and blabs about at conferences and stuff, and people invite him to these conferences and they listen to him talk for 15 minutes about protein orchards, and everybody comes away thinking, what the fuck was this guy talking about? And nobody is taking it up. No creationists like AIG or any of those groups have taken it up because they realize it is so goddamn weak and dumb and naive. It's just unbelievable. He thinks that because a population has a common ancestor, then all the proteins also, all the parts that are inside of that population, they also have to have a common ancestor, which is just not the case, Sal. There's no reason for proteins to have a single protein common ancestor. Now, the only way to imagine that is if you imagine, okay, the first cell popped up, like the very first cell, Luca, right, way back. It was just the first cell. There was only one of them, and it had one protein in it. One protein. And that protein then, evolved into all the other proteins along with the cell. No, Cordova, that is not how this works. Anyway, I would like to express or explain a little bit what that was all about, abiogenesis and compartmentalization, the first cells, the first populations, and how it relates to the number of protein families we have. But anyway, I digress. I'm going to bore people again. Oh, I hate that I'm the only one that gives a fuck about half this stuff.
It's
Yeah,
not
I realize
that.
that.
It's not that. It's just that, like, the reason I gave up biology when I was 13, I think 12 or 13, is because it was so fucking complicated. There's so many different terms that I
It's a
had to
lot of
learn
shit.
before I could even get into the. How many bones did they want me to talk about, and what were their fucking names again? I've got no fucking idea. And
Yeah.
then, then I thought, oh shit, I was only 13 and I was a bit embarrassed by sex. So I didn't really want to do biology for that reason, because I thought they'd make me talk about my penis. I was wrong, because it turns out that that is one of my most interesting subjects to talk about, but never mind.
Yeah, my life's kind of a sad story. I've had a number of relationships with women that were serious. And at the beginning of the relationship, they'd all say, "Oh my God, I just love how you're so interested in science and you love talking about all this stuff." And 3 months later, 3 months into the relationship, every one of them said, "If you see one more fucking science fact, I'm gonna get out of this car." And, one more goddamn science fact out of you, and I'm gonna kill you. It's like, yeah, they got real sick of it real fast.
Yeah, I was the same with physics, really, at that age.
It's sad.
At that age. Well, they used to say, "You're so interesting, so many things." And like, and I'd go, oh, okay, yeah. And I was a very wide studier, not a deep studier, but I was a very wide studier. That was my thing. So I could talk about a lot of different subjects. So, for a little while, and it probably lasted a bit longer, but for a little while, they'd just come in and go, "Oh, can you help me with this? Or can you, what's this? And, when did this happen?" And, whatever it was. And then I go, but because I over the years got deeper and deeper in my individual studies, my rants got longer and longer. So, and as they got longer and longer, I had less and less girlfriends.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Which is weird, opposite to the penis, I guess. But anyway, there we go.
Okay.
Significant, it gets dismissed, and the discussion is then misdirected to irrelevancies. And I let it go back then, but I'm not letting it go now. This is
it gets
you never let it go back then. To be fair, I had several talks with you, and I know jack shit about it. I just literally took the piss, and you didn't let it go ever.
I've prayed about it, and I've made the decision to persist in being wrong.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. The reason nobody stands up and claps when Cell comes up with one of these things is because it's really stupid, Cell. It's simple. You just got it wrong.
Yeah.
You probably mentioned this already, but what's this video dated?
Let me see here. 5 days ago.
5 days ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
I am contemporary.
Yeah, but he's talking about shit that's old, isn't it? That debate was a long time ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah, he's still chewing on that. It's like, oh, here's my old glob of big red chewing gum. I think I'll put it back in my mouth after 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, definitely there's a large space in his head for Dr. Dan. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's a lonely old man with suspenders all alone in that big house, and nobody's taking him seriously. And then he thinks about it, and it's like, I'm going to make a video.
Is he still in his mother's house?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Yep.
So basically, he gets packages, yells at the delivery person, slams the door, and then makes a video about a grudge he's held for over 5 years.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, he gets a little irritated when he has to answer the door. I have a wonderful clip of him answering the door and slamming it in some guy's face.
Yeah.
And that's what I was kind of remembering.
Yeah, he shows his real character. I mean, he's this real nice guy, and he's doing this real nice guy shit. And then the doorbell rings, and he just struts over there like I don't know, like a fucking weird robot chicken. And opens the door, looks at the guy, and slams it in his face, and then comes strutting back. And then he turns into a nice guy again. And it's like you could just see his true nature.
It's like some kind of door-to-door salesman or something. I seem to remember.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that might have been true that would kind of change this is if the guy, if Sal had put up a sign that says, "Do not knock" or "Do not ring doorbell," and the guy did it anyway, then I would understand the reaction. But we have no knowledge of that.
Yeah,
I still wouldn't
to strangers, though. Yeah, and especially if you're a Christian, you know, like, oh, he's not going to turn the other cheek, not because someone slapped him, but because someone rang his bell.
Yeah, I get all kinds of.
Come on.
I get that about once a month where somebody rings the doorbell and I have to run up there, and I open the door and they're selling something, and I give them I listen to them for like 5 minutes, and then I slowly tell them, "Hey, I'm not even the guy that owns this place. Please go away now." But I never get rude with them. I mean, you just don't do that to people.
Yeah, I usually just say no, thank you, and just shut the door.
Like,
I don't have to be nice or not nice, even, right? I just don't get emotionally involved with somebody ringing on my doorbell.
I feel bad for these guys. They got to walk around and ring doorbells. I'm not going to fucking treat them like shit.
Yeah. I told you, some of them, like, some people. I had 2 Mormons in January, like, knock on the door, and I thought, oh, okay. And as I opened the door and said, oh, hello, it was fine. It was just a normal January, wet, and then it started snowing, and I thought, I'm going to help them find Jesus. So I just left. So I just left them on the doorstep in the snow. They're only wearing suits, and I just left them, and then just kept asking them questions for an hour.
Oh no!
So were they like British Mormons, or did they come in from the United States to pastor you?
Yeah, I don't know where they were from. I mean, they were both like Asian looking, so they could be United States, I suppose. But I think they must have been British Mormons, to be honest. If there's such a thing.
What is my bookmark here? 408.
And recently, like over the last year or so, I confronted him. I said, well, nothing's changed. He's never been able to say he could find one geneticist that thinks the human genome is improving. And this time around on Reddit, rather than admitting that he had no answer, he said, well, it depends on your definition of what improvement is. And at that point,
yes, it does. Does it not?
Well, I think
what would it be like?
What your definition of changing environment is. I mean,
let me kind of explain what I think improvement means. It's basically if your children and grandchildren, as from whatever organism you are exist, then your gene is improved. That's it. If some of your other population, if your peers, if their offspring did not survive to procreate, then that's not improvement.
In general.
Yeah. So
obviously, because that's the function, isn't it? It's a generalization, as you say. It's over a population. Yep. So I guess if you've passed your genes on, then there's going to be a tendency for the genome to improve. I would also say that another reason Sal probably misunderstands it is like in the last 30 years, maybe more, 40 years, medicine has improved, and also to the point where birthing is a lot easier, a lot less stressful. The nutritional requirements for a pregnancy has become better understood, so that improves the population by itself. And then, of course, the quality of the food is also improved. Right, so I mean, at least the amount of it, and the understanding of what it takes to be a healthy human, and how much water we need, etc., and keeping fit. Fitness itself is improved in terms of exercise. Well, maybe not in America, but certainly in some countries in Europe, the kids are looking a lot fitter. They've got cleaner complexions than in my day, that's for sure. They take care of themselves a lot more. They understand at a younger age about physical fitness and what it can do to the mind, improving the mind, and they're taking like vitamins, etc. So we would literally see an improvement in the population, and that's not genetic. I'm not saying that's genetic. What I'm saying is that is an improvement in the population, just because of our science of evolution and biology that allows us to understand the needs a human actually need to function at a higher cognitive abilities, and also be healthier over their lifetime and have longer lifespans. And that's happened all through the knowledge of evolution. So.
Yeah, we've got a big Lutheran church down here with there's always a bunch of kids out playing around in the playground, running around. And then when I drive by that and I think about genetic entropy, I don't see that these little kids are less evolved than me. I mean,
by definition, they can't be, right? As Scott said, like, because they're younger than you, they're of a lower generation. Right. They've almost got to be, an improvement on you. Yeah, that's what I find. And like, as a guitarist, right, I never see like 18, 19-year-old kids that play guitar now, and they kick my ass. They kicked my ass when I was 20. When I was 26, when I was 30.
Yeah, if you picked any random three of those little kids, they could probably kick my ass. And like, I don't see the genetic entropy happening, and their idea is that their kids are somehow inferior to them, that they have more perfect genes than their children. That's what they have to accept, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Isn't that kind of dark? Isn't that kind of fucked up?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Like, they're a little bit dumber, they're a little bit weaker, a little bit less fit. I don't understand.
It's just not true. It's just not true.
No, it ain't.
I mean, we have some, our generation particularly has some strengths, right? That is, we were given good food, and usually you had parents in the house, 2 parents in the house to bring us up and show us, how to get on in life, etc., etc. And that's a big advantage compared to the statistics that are out now. But at the same time, we were kicked out of that. I mean, I don't know about you, but I was kicked out of the house at in summer holidays, like 10 o'clock in the morning. I was kicked out of the house, go and do something. Parents wanted the house to themselves at the right age, like 13 or something, go on your bike, go and find some friends, and go and fucking meet some people, learn how to interact with your peers, and and get on with people, right? And then I'd come, and the only question was, be back before it's dark. That was it.
In the 70s in Great Britain, did they have a phenomenon called latchkey kids?
Yeah, it was beginning.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering because that's kind of a thing in the consciousness of people my age. You hear all sorts of stories about being latchkey kids, and it resulted in this sociologically, or comedians will talk about some story that happened because of it. But I didn't know if, like, in Britain or other countries, if they had that same issue.
I mean, some kids, there weren't, and not everybody had 2 parents, right, for a start. But I mean, I had 2 parents, and I never had to take a key out. I never took a key out for the house. I didn't get one of those. I don't think I ever got one of those, actually. Not until a lot later.
Much better off I just had one parent instead of that the alcoholic. Could have got rid of him. Yeah, could have got rid of him.
Yeah,
one
fair
parent
enough.
would have been better.
I was very lucky. Both my parents were athletes, and my dad started teaching me physical exercise routines when I was like 8 or 9. My mum was a cyclist. She used to make me cycle to school and back, at a fucking young age. So, and then we'd all go out for cycles at the weekend, fucking miles and miles, of course, because that was it.
My dad saw us as farm labor. Basically, we were farm laborers.
Okay.
That's why he had kids, and he had a lot of us.
And a lot of them because they're farmers. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd put us on the tractor, or he'd put me up on the barn, which was almost a vertical roof. And when I was like 6, 7 years old, he didn't give a shit if you lost a few. If you aren't good at the farm labor, the hell with you.
Wow.
Flip the tractor over on yourself, then you deserve it. Damn dumb kid.
Yeah, like my dad was a little bit strict, shall we say. But because I was the youngest, by the time it got to me, my mother insisted that he wasn't to be so strict that I was to be brutally terrorized, like my eldest brother was, and we just made us different people. It was weird as well. My brother is extremely successful at everything he does. He's lazy as fuck like me, but he's extremely successful despite being lazy, which is kind of weird, Oh, good. Hey, Kurt, nice to see you. Anyway, enough of that. Let's just get on and try and get through some of this. Have you got different places we can go to?
I got a whole bunch of bookmarks.
Let's just get through the bookmarks then. This is boring. Okay. Whatever he's saying now, I've forgotten what it is.
And I said, yeah, Dr. Dan, I know your game. Why don't you provide a definition of fitness and see if you can answer the question I posed? Now that puts him in a dilemma.
Reproductive ratio in a population. That's it. That's fitness. It's just, it's a ratio. It's either 1.0 or it's 0.9 or 0.99 or 1.01. That's all it takes in order for a population to start drifting towards some particular change. That's fitness. It has nothing to do with Phi-Ed, for fuck's sake. Even though, it used to be that the sports guys, got the girls and all that crap. Yeah, I don't know, whatever.
Well,
Yeah, okay. So there's that. I'm going to go to the next bookmark. Where am I at? Far. Okay. I think, okay, I went ahead.
Evolutionary biology, sickle cell anemia is considered a fit trait. What they call the heterozygous expression of it anyway. This is not.
That is like ridiculous, right? It's an unfortunate trait is what it is, because if you have both of your genes have that sickle cell anemia mutation, right, then you die. But if just one of them has it, you've got protection against malaria if you're in a place where malaria is common. So, I mean, this is just, no, that isn't like considered fitness. And it's a really, really shitty and tragic example of genetic fitness, right? That you have to have basically one really kind of seriously bad mutation on one gene in order to kill a goddamn mosquito, it's just really a bad example. Anyway, fuck that one. Let's see. That was at 601. Let's see here. 601, 628. Okay, we'll try this one. All right.
Because if we actually examine the physical evidence now in the era of cheap DNA sequencing, where we can actually tell if the human genome and other genomes are deteriorating.
Okay, now we're going to hear about how, now that we have the genetic evidence, we know that the Bible's right. That's what that one is.
I still don't know what he means by the genetic or the genome deteriorating. Does it like fall apart? Does like just disintegrate into powder or something? What does he mean by degenerate?
Well, in the Bible, it told them that Adam and Eve were perfect, and ever since then we've been degenerating. But nothing in science tells us that there used to be a perfect genome, and now we're degenerating. Nothing in science tells you that, but he insists it does. So it's just more silliness.
What is the scientific definition of degenerate?
I don't know.
And if he wants to be a science guy, why doesn't he use science words that scientists use?
Yeah.
Well, I think there was an episode in Star Trek about that.
Was there?
Yeah. It was called Devolution.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'd like to watch it.
Oh, yeah. Troy, Commander Troy, or whatever her name is, devolving into a mermaid.
I love that one.
No.
Let's see here. Did I go ahead?
Then kind of the medical and common sense notion of what real fitness.
There's that real fitness. What real fitness is? This is by John Sanford, and it's a little pamphlet, and you can't buy it. I can't find it anywhere, so I couldn't buy this goddamn thing. He produced it.
So what you're saying to me here, what you're saying to me here is it doesn't have. You don't know if it has Gödel's incompleteness theory in it.
I don't know. You have to look at the index of that thing, and I can't find it. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's hope he slams it on the ground.
He keeps waving this around. I'm not sure.
This is such as health markers.
Health markers.
Some peculiar conclusions. So it is known, and it is concerning, that IQ is declining. Kanazawa published a paper, a peer-reviewed paper that said...
Could you just stop it there? Because I've been doing this bell curve debunking, the pseudoscience of race IQ. And IQ can't, it just can't go down, because every year, or every 10 years, I should say, they just mean 100.
Yeah.
Right? So it doesn't go down. It never goes down or up. Right? IQ is a constant measure over a period of time, because they change the mean. 100 IQ is always average IQ, and that won't change. So the idea that even the average IQ goes down, that can't be the case as such. What you can find is maybe you might be able to say something like the cognitive abilities change generation to generation. But like I was saying, that's more environmental anyway. IQ is not heritable. It's the only component that is heritable is a very small amount, and it's much more influenced by environment and how good your education is, what your diet is, what your mother's diet is. These are the things that really change what somebody's IQ is.
Right. Now, this Satoshi Kanazawa's 2014 paper on IQ was not about the IQ declining. It was about a study that they did that found that women with higher IQs were less likely to have offspring, or had less offspring, than women with average IQs. Okay?
Yeah.
So they found out that education basically makes people have less children.
Yeah, yes, of course it does. Yes. What actually makes it? There's a UN study from the 2000s in Bangladesh, and the birth rates fell from, I think it was something like 6 or 7 per woman to 2.5 per woman over the space of maybe 10 years. And the reason there were several reasons. One, firstly, they gave access to the children's, free access to children's education for girls. Number 2, they gave the women interest-free loans. Number 3, they gave their women access to their own reproductive systems, right? And instead of their husbands having it, that was it. So in short, it's women's empowerment that reduces the amount of women the amount of babies they choose to have. Also, of course, in the West here, this happened as a natural decline because guess what? Medicine and what we learned from evolution, through the process of evolution, about how the human body works, we were able to secure babies to births at a much, much higher rate in the 20th century than we were in the 19th century. To a huge degree. In this country, I think it's something like the average woman had about 8 children per woman, and 5 of them died before they got to the age of puberty. So,
and
you go around graveyards, and you can see the dates, the number of child deaths on these graveyard markers. all in like 18 such and such, you know, and then it's a list of 5 babies in one grave, you know.
Sydney Raptor has it exactly. We let him
he's
out of
summarizing perfectly. I can't believe how succinct somebody can be summing up Sal.
Yeah, this is just such a dumb argument because it like this whole thing about human, basically, he gets into Kondratyev, where he said, why aren't we dead 100 times over because of, you know, mutations or whatever? But Kondratyev is talking about human culture, and he's talking about the fact that we now keep people alive who do have some serious mutations, and they do reproduce because this is how we take care of each other, right? And the fear is that this is going to lead to more mutations in our population overall, that we're going to, you know, make it possible for people who would be less fit in a natural environment to have children, which is it's what we're doing in modern times. So they're worried about humans, but how the fuck does that apply to beetle evolution or fruit fly evolution? It doesn't. And this whole intelligence thing doesn't apply to fruit flies or beetles or any of that stuff.
But this feeds so much into their patriarchal religious beliefs, is that, okay, it's bad for women to get smart because now they're not having babies, and that's bad. Even though we have like a population of 9 billion people now.
Yeah, we got enough people. I don't get this fear over our population declining. It just doesn't make sense. We're doing fine.
It also, I think, reinforces their belief in the fall, the corruption of sin on the human race. That if they can find a physical component to that, then that would, you know, make them feel better about having such a wild belief about the nature of humanity. Of course, you know, doctrine of sin has to do with the more like the behavior of humans and their tendency to sin, but they really want there to be an analog in the physical world where everything is degenerating because of sin. And there's a thing too, I noticed I kind of asked Gemini here through Google to kind of summarize John Sanford's definition of fitness. And one aspect of it is, you know, he believes in, organismal functionality. In other words, they're assuming there's a correct function for everything in the genome, which is, once again, that's just a mistake. That's a wrong idea about evolutionary thinking, I believe. Of course, I'm no expert, but I've always heard that organs can have a function, and then those genes mutate to where it does another thing eventually, and then you have the kind of organ that I always forget the name of, vestigial organs or something.
Yeah. The liver is a real good example of something that has many functions, and it's very easy for a new function to occur or for there to be a loss of a function. So everybody's liver is like got slightly different fitness depending on what environment you're in, that sort of thing. But it's, in modern, you know, with humans in modern times, it's very unlikely that it's going to kill you, basically. Anyway, so we want to run this for a while because he makes this logical. He does this fucking illogical thing here that just kind of drove me nuts. So we got to let it run for about a minute. He'll get to it here.
It is known, and it is concerning, that IQ is declining. Kanazawa published a paper, a peer-reviewed paper, that said it focused on childlessness, high IQ, and childlessness. The central point of the paper is that women with high IQ have a higher incidence of childlessness than the women who are not so smart. That means the population over time will be represented with less and less intelligent people over time. And also,
follow.
this is...
No, it doesn't.
That does not follow.
No, it doesn't follow. No.
I mean the number of examples of some of the brightest people in this world, right, come from some of the poorest places and have no education except themselves.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable how high these people's IQs are, and yet they're born to some of the poorest families in the most squalid areas, have no education except what they get for themselves.
And if you look at the IQ range in a family of, say, 5, 6, 7 children,
yeah, there you go.
You're going to find it all over the place. It has. So, I mean, there are some genetic elements, but they are very weak as to how well you're going to perform, that sort of thing, or what your IQ is going to be. Developmental, food, everything else really has an effect on it. And this bullshit that the IQ is decreasing. There were a couple studies in some populations that indicated that there was a decrease, but then when you look at the individual studies, their methods are suspect. They're
of course it is.
When they do a study in the same population again at a different time, it goes away, goes up and down. We haven't found anything that indicates that we're getting dumber, basically.
Yeah. Although,
so there is
also to say that when they do these studies about IQ, okay, there's no way to distinguish between environment and heritability. Yeah. There's just no way to do it. And if they claim, right, and I've noticed, I read through maybe 5 of these studies recently, all of them founded by very dodgy groups, including the John Templeton Foundation and, creationist studies as well. Because they've got an agenda, right? Again, it's like they don't even understand themselves that there's no point in reproducing bad science, and that's all they're doing is just reproducing things which people did 20 years ago, 30 years ago plus. In one case, it's obviously the the studies that were done in the 50s. They're just reproducing some of these studies and going, oh look. Some people have low IQs and they cause the problems, right? And guess which group they say are the people that have the low IQs, right? Yeah. Oh, well, it's the, the people which don't look like them. You know what I mean? So it's ridiculous that here we are, 75 years later and the same old shit is going around. And it's because of people like Sal, who literally refuse to get themselves educated in any basic level on the topics that he wants to pontificate on. And it's not difficult to get a basic education. You could have just paid attention at fucking school, right? If you left school at 16, right, having paid attention, you'd have enough education to at least function properly in society, or at least you should, right? And that's if you get out early because you want to do a trade or something. Okay, but if you stay on and you go all the way to 18, you're going to have such a good education, right? And you've paid attention, of course, right? And not gone to these stupid fucking creationist schools or religious schools or decided to take a theology degree, which means absolutely bollocks, right? Then obviously, that's the problem. It's those people which just claim and then go on and go, well, I've got a theology degree, so I can go and do a master's in science. No, you have to start from being a 12-year-old again if you've done that route, because that's when they start teaching the very basics of science,
And
Sorry,
then there's the
little rant.
The concept of fitness is often simply shorthand for stuff I like in conservative speech, but it's only related to specific conditions seen in specified population biologically. Intelligence, right, is stuff we like, right? And I mean, they're like, and I said it to him and he played this clip over and over again. He thought he had me. I said that it could be that it would be more survival oriented for humans to develop less intelligence, right? That could happen.
It's possible, yeah.
And it doesn't, because evolution doesn't give a shit if you're smarter. Smarter is just something that Cell thinks is like some God-given fucking thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just doesn't matter. But
he's going to think it's genetic, undoubtedly.
Because fitness
That's why, that explains why he's so smart. His parents are smart, so he must be smart, even though the obvious is staring him in the face. That isn't true. If anything, he's got an average IQ, which makes more sense.
There's very strong evidence for IQ test scores rising enormously during the 20th century. There is good evidence that IQ test scores have recently stopped rising or declined in some developed countries. I think it was Norway where they did the study. Let's see, that human intelligence is declining because intelligent people reproduce less. Possible selection effect, but not demonstrated by IQ decline.
No, that can't be it. That just can't be it. Right? Yeah. It can't be it because of the demonstration of how many geniuses come out of a population which is struck with poverty.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the facts, right? So if you want to say, oh, yeah, but it just seems obvious because, like, obviously they don't get a good thing. Well, that's nothing to do with the raw IQ, right? Yeah. You can affect IQ with education for sure. And giving people good education is the key to improving a population's fitness, no doubt about it. But it's ridiculous to say that, and we don't need extra people. This is another point. There is enough genetic diversity on the planet already to keep us going for several generations now. I mean, so we don't need lots of people to have lots of babies like it was back in the 19th century.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, there was something else. No, I lost it. Shit.
I'm sorry.
Okay, he's gonna come up with this logical fucking atrocity here in a minute.
Intelligence is highly correlated with general health. So when intelligent, healthy women are going childless, the less intelligent, the less healthy women are multiplying.
That makes no sense at all. No sense at all.
Well, like I say, this is the Christian nationalist fucking thing about dysgenics, right? Well, look, there you go. The stupid people reproduce at a higher rate, and that's not good for the society. But that's only if you think that intelligence is mainly heritable, right? Which is basically a racist agenda anyway. Okay.
And he shot himself in the foot with that. That health is positively correlated with higher IQ, right? Mm-hmm. And then he took the leap of saying that less healthy women are going to reproduce more. That is just simply false. Less healthy women are going to reproduce less. There is no goddamn way to take those two things and slime them together the way he just did.
Absolutely. And look, again, even if it's true, it makes a fucking little difference because that's not what affects IQ the most. Right? Because heritability is only a small part, right, of IQ. Very small part. There's like maybe 20 different things which affect it, or 19 of which affect it in a more substantial way. Mainly to do with nutrition and education, right? As well as social upbringing. I mean, all of these things matter, right? If you're in a culture which which proclaims like learning as something which is honorable, then you're going to have, by the time you finish your schooling, you're going to have a higher IQ. That's just how that works out, right? If you're in a culture which says, oh, you'll never learn anything because like we Christians are telling you that you're stupid, right? And you'll never learn, right? Like it used to be back in the bad days in the 40s and 50s in America, when people of color were literally told that they are stupid, therefore we shouldn't bother giving them a good education. Well, that's going to make them have more children. Of course it is, because what else are they going to fucking do? Right? It's not like they can just go out and go to Wall Street. And that's the third point. If high IQ, right, is such a heritable thing, okay, why do we keep having all these Wall Street crashes, which allegedly is some of the most intelligent people on the planet?
Right.
Because they're fucking up. They're causing society problems bigger than any other society problems that people of allegedly low IQ cause. This is just fucking stupid. And I hate this Christian nationalist bollocks for that reason. Sorry. I will shut up now. Sorry, man.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to point out is this whole fucking IQ score bullshit really has to go away, because it is just such a shitty measure of basically a person's ability to abstract, and it has and it can be altered significantly by basically skills and education and environment and just a ton of things. And it really is a shitty idea to put a label on people like that. Kids are stigmatized by this shit. Whether they get a low IQ score or a high IQ score in school, they are stigmatized by either, both low and high. They feel like freaks, right? Telling them, "Oh, you're a freak above the norm, or you're a freak below the norm." It's just ridiculous. And also, none of this shit applies to evolution, because evolution, there are about 6,000 mammals, and there are like almost 3 million species we've identified. Mammals are a very small part of that, and they're the only ones where this intelligence stuff is going to matter, right? And even less so, there aren't that many primates, or very few primates compared to those 6,000 mammals. And there's only one of us, and we're the only ones where this shit matters anyway. It just doesn't. It doesn't apply to evolution in general, just because he's got these stupid goddamn metrics they've come up with. And yeah, it has something to do with Christian nationalism, and I don't know. They're just it's fucked up. Anyway,
ethnic nationalism as well, social nationalism, national socialism, fascism, all of these kind of things where they think they should be separating out the low IQ and only breeding with people that have high IQ. And I, you know, in my heart of hearts, you know, I know obviously it's complete bullshit, but I think, oh, why don't they just fuck off and do that then?
Yeah.
You know, why don't they just fuck off, ignore evolution, right? Just isolate themselves into small population and breed themselves into insanity. That would be nice.
It would be nice. Okay, let's see. Where are we going now?
The less healthy women just make more babies. And so it's like, well, this doesn't work so well, does it?
It's crazy.
Natural selection
by definition, if you can have a lot of
so-called
definition, if you can have a lot of babies when you're a woman, you are healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, just by definition, right? Because it takes a lot out of a woman to have a lot of children, right? That's one of the reasons why a lot of women that have self-empowerment choose not to, because they know how damaging it is. It's not like the old days, right, where a Catholic, you know, used to have, I mean, there was Catholics up the road, they had 10 kids, 10 fucking children, and by the last one, you know, it was like, oh god, they're barely hanging on, aren't they? Those kids are not healthy. You know.
And even if there was something about our culture, you know, that caused us to basically breed in such a way that our genome did start to have more trouble, more mutations, that has nothing to do with evolution in general. That isn't going to affect beetles. Beetles do not have they don't have Medicare. I don't know if you knew that or not, but beetles do not have health insurance. They don't have a good health policy. They can't find a doctor anywhere. Beetles can't find any doctor anywhere, and it's really bad. So,
oh my word! And they don't have any modern medicine to help birthing.
No, they don't have vaccines. They don't have any of that stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
So it really doesn't matter. Crazy person.
Yeah, I mean, also, while we're still on IQ quickly, this is the problem, right? Because he thinks he's got a very high IQ. This is the problem. The confidence. Yep. It's the confidence of people that think they've got this fucking high IQ and don't realize how stupid they are.
Like that guy that's supposed to have an IQ over 200. They came up with some weird ass theory about the universe.
Yeah.
Nobody. Yeah, they should have never told him. They should have never given him that number. So.
Yeah. Well, he probably did it online. You know what I mean? Did one of those online.
Yeah. Right.
We just want you to click on and give your details, and we know that only dumb people do that. So if we tell you that your IQ is going to be high, you know what I mean? Then you will give us all your details.
Just a bunch of men playing chess, and trying to outsmart each other.
I went home. I had a Mensa test when I was like 11, I think, something like that. And I went home and told my dad what the results were. And he went, "Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good." Didn't want to disappoint me too much. And I said, "So that means that I can join Mensa?" He said, "No, you're not. No fucking way am I paying every year to you to go enjoy some pseudo-intellectual bollocks."
Yep.
I was like, "Oh, all right."
Okay, moving on.
Highly dependent on what the environment decides to select. It could select for stupidity and degraded health.
Good. Yes, it could.
And now this raises some problems. Darwin has basically not been able to prove his point. The complexity, the process of natural selection is so-called natural selection.
You're at a disadvantage to try to prove anything when you've been dead for 100 years.
Yeah. Darwin still hasn't proven it. He's still working on it. He's still out there trying to prove it. It's like, I don't think so. And the other thing is this whole, now he's going to conflate complexity with increased fitness, right? And that's not the case. Not the case at all. The most fit thing on this planet are prokaryotes, and they're extremely simple. And they stay simple because they don't have the same kind of constraints that more complex animals do, multicellular animals. And he doesn't have any understanding of that little problem. And that's a pretty deep subject in evolution, that the prokaryotes will, if you come up with a population, they'll start losing genes left and right if you keep the environment stable, right? They'll just start shedding stuff they don't need, and they'll reproduce faster and faster and faster. And he conflates that with multicellular animals, which is an entirely different situation. That's where evolution becomes very complicated. And you can't say something about bacteria and think that that's going to apply to us. It just isn't. This is just such a weak understanding of evolution that this idiot has, and he's just blathering. That's all he's doing. Oh, let's see. I think he talks about Michael Lynch next. Now he does a whole bunch of quote mining.
Hey, Robert.
Complexity over time.
Hey, Robert.
And in fact, some biologists, evolutionary biologists no less, like Michael Lynch, who happens to be probably the second most cited, second or third most cited evolutionary biologist on the planet right now, according to H-Index. So he's high ranking. He said it's kind of odd to think that quote unquote natural selection is selecting for complexity, because on average, simplicity rather than complexity should be selected. And we're seeing that with the Kanazawa studies. We're also seeing it in over the last 10 years in genome sequencing experiments over generations and observations, genome sequencing observations. We're seeing the most reproductively efficient, which have smaller genomes,
here we go,
and therefore can make their copies of themselves faster, will often dispose of.
Okay, he's going to conflate bacteria populations with multicellular animals, just like I said, and it doesn't follow at all. It doesn't make any sense. And just mentioning Michael Lynch is really confused. Basically, Lynch's whole thing is that emphasizing that complexity cannot simply be attributed to relentless selection for complexity, basically. There's a population size, drift, mutation, recombination also matter, basically. So Lynch is pushing back on the selectionists that will say, like some people will say mutations are the most important thing. Others will say selection is the most important thing. And then you have the whole group of extended synthesis biologists who say, no, it's much more complicated than that. And that's all it is. Lynch is not a fucking creationist, you idiot. He's not on your side. It's really bad. Who else does he quote mine? He quote mines a lot of people in here. Oh, let's see. I wonder, was intelligent, was healthy? Let me see here. Oh, he does another one up here. I'm going to jump way ahead. We're not going to get that far anyway. So let me see. So Masatoshi Nai.
Also high ranking is Masatoshi Nai, population geneticist. In graduate school, I had studied his work. We had to use his molecular evolutionary genetics analysis software, something called, I may have gotten the acronym wrong, it's called MEGA. And so he's a geneticist of high rank. He said Darwin never proved his theory. And so this is really disturbing that the evolutionary community and the popular press on one hand will just deny what their senior biologists.
So he picks out a whole bunch of biologists that are just doing this extended synthesis thing. And Masatoshi Nai basically was pushing back on the idea that natural selection was the main driving force. And he was more about neutral mutations and drift and niche making and a bunch of other stuff. Michael Lynch, I think for him it was niche making, that basically organisms actually modify the environment. And all of these guys are basically fighting it out on philosophy of evolution or philosophy of biology. And you can't just cherry pick their quotes without reading the rest of what they say, because in the next paragraph, they will double down and say, yes, evolution happened, complexity developed by evolution, but we just have the wrong focus about why that happened. And so they're arguing about the kind of the macro details of how you talk about evolution. And it goes on and on and on.
It's also worth mentioning that, Darwin came back from his the Beagle. He already had in mind the idea of evolution. It had already been talked about by various other people before him. So he had some idea of where he was going. And then he spent 20 years, right, doing experiments, right, to get the idea, a further idea of how exactly that the process worked generation to generation. So it's not like he didn't do any scientific work. It's not like this is just some kind of picked out of his mind and he's gone, oh, look, the beaks are different sizes. That tells you everything you need to know. No, that was just a pointer, right? And then he spent 20 years in his greenhouse, right? Mixing plants,
are saying,
selecting plants, right? So, it's not true that Darwin had no idea about how evolution was working, right? He knew that this idea of artificial selection was the process, but it happened in nature, and he was just trying to prove that. He's very famous, isn't he, for having studying an ecosystem, right? A micro ecosystem, at least anyway, of like a meter or so of his meter, a yard by yard and a yard down. And he studied it every day to find out what was happening to it and how it was changing over 20 years. So, he did some comprehensive scientific research in order to show that it was in fact natural selection that was altering these things and not that was the mechanism by which by which the generations changed. Right, so just to say that what he just said there about this guy, if that quote was true and didn't have anything else in it, then that guy is wrong. But I think it's more to do with Sal misreading what was going on, because I don't believe anybody that is into evolution has not read Darwin and at least understands that there's real scientific data behind his theory. Go ahead.
Okay, so now he's going to talk about Brett Weinstein and his appearance on Joe Rogan.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, yeah, the classic. Like, because Joe knows a lot about evolution, apparently. Yeah, yeah.
Real highbrow, show. Yeah.
He evolved the podcast, if you didn't
He's
know.
a real polymath, that guy.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Yep. And
not consistent with the highest standards of science. And another evolutionary biologist not too long ago by the name of Brett Weinstein, who's well known, said modern Darwinism is broken. My colleagues are lying to themselves. They are lying to themselves. So
someone is.
What he was really saying. So Brett Weinstein does accept evolution, even though now this guy has a real bad dark side to him, but he does have a degree in evolutionary biology. His basically the standard mutation plus selection account is incomplete. That's what he was trying to say. He wasn't saying that evolution is broken, that the theory is broken. He was saying that our emphasis on selection and mutation is broken. And he has an opinion, right? So he himself is an evolutionary biologist. His own work has been framed explicitly in evolutionary terms. Let's see. I think he wrote a paper to Evolutionary Trade-offs, Emerging Constraints, and Their Adaptive Consequences. And so he did a little work, but he also did a lot of really shitty stuff during the pandemic. So, and he kind of went crazy, right?
Yeah. I think he was a bit jealous of his brother Eric.
Okay, now which Weinstein was it that had this very contentious debate / dialogue with Sean Carroll?
Eric, I think. Yeah.
That was Eric, same Weinstein.
I think it's Eric with the geometric unity or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, Weinstein's complaint is roughly, I think the modern synthesis current evolutionary framework is missing something important. And we all know it's missing a lot of complexity, right? And Cordova turns that into a prominent evolutionary biologist admits Darwinism has failed. And that's what he leaves it. That's why that is so stupid, Sal. You've got to do more work than this. You've got to do more work.
What makes evolutionary biologist prominent?
Well, he's prominent because he was on Joe Rogan and he for ivermectin and all this other bullshit. And he really made a fool of himself.
And he got fired for being an arsehole.
Right. And was it him or his brother that got fired from the university?
I think they both might have actually, but the biology one. So that's Brett. They got fired for just saying shit about it, I think.
Yeah, he got into a kerfuffle in the university, and he probably should have kept his mouth shut. So
yeah, it was about the transgender stuff, I think. So
Lynch, Nye, nor Weinstein support this genetic entropy bullshit, and none of them believe in it. And let's see, he what did he do here during C19? He became a prominent promoter of claims about ivermectin and the vaccine risks, and he made a fool of himself and kind of wrecked any reputation he had before. So his research record is thin, and Cordova tries to make him like some prominent biologist. He is not. He's not prominent in the field, so doesn't make any fucking difference. Soul cells, it's just all about fucking rhetoric on these guys, right?
Yeah.
That's all they give a shit about. What do we got next? I thought this was cool.
We hear the sirens going on. Yeah, see, this is sirens. Darwinism means to go in an ambulance and then actually go into hospice care and be. We hear the sirens going on. Yeah, see, this is sirens. Darwinism means to go on an ambulance and then actually go into hospice care and be just taken away.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, yeah.
How many prominent or current researching scientists in evolutionary biology use the phrase Darwinism, use the term Darwinism?
Yeah, I don't hear it in my textbooks at all. I don't find it hardly. I don't think hardly any mention of Darwin anywhere.
Yeah, it's because we have advanced and the science has grown and improved, and Darwin made his contribution, and it was basic, it was foundational, but nobody, except maybe in science history class or something, or something like that, would really focus in on Darwinism.
Yep. Now he's going to show us his little ratchet that he built. What the fuck?
The problem is, to the extent if it had paralleled the way human technology advances, kind of like this ratchet, it would have worked. The problem is that the blueprints are never preserved. Under the condition, there's nothing that says the parents have to make children with absolutely no variation from the parent. If that were the case, they would at least preserve a good working copy. And then
what the hell? He's just talking such fucking nonsense here. He's talking like there had to be like some blueprint of some perfect genome. And I don't know where the hell he's going with this, but maybe the ratchet idea is a pretty good one, because every single generation that reproduces is going to reproduce something that's a little bit different. And if that little bit of difference ends up being an advantage, a very small advantage reproductively, then it's possible that that will drift through the population. But it has to be a population of a certain size in order for that to happen. And it's going to ratchet up, basically. And as far as ratcheting up in complexity, that is a whole bigger topic having to do with multicellularity. And he is not equipped to think about that at all. He's just a fucking idiot. I don't know. His ratchet. Then he goes off on a tangent about cars for about 20 minutes later on, about how he's learning how to fix cars. I don't know why, and I don't know what it all means. I'm not sure. Preserve a good working copy. Let's see, to favor. Okay, here we
go. When I cited Kanazawa, it'll actually start actively destroying versatility and excess capability to favor reproductive efficiency. Again, this is like a hiker wanting to move faster and having no foresight and dumping all of.
Okay, again, he's talking about bacteria. Okay, for bacteria to reproduce rapidly, like, okay, if there's some genetic advantage in a human being, okay, that doesn't ratchet up their reproductive efficiency, right? They're not going to have like hundreds of children, but bacteria do that. So if they lose genetic weight and become simplified in certain environments, they can ratchet up very fast because they can reproduce like 5 times a day or once a day or whatever. Humans don't do that. It doesn't apply to complex multicellular animals. This is just a nothing burger cell. And he keeps going on about the nothing burger. It's just silly, silly, silly. Let's see here. I sure wish my drop down would stay drop down. Lewinton Engineering. Okay, Kondratyev. Kunin's deity is stupid. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Favor. Okay, having to. Oh yeah, this is the rhetoric's coming here.
And there are peer-reviewed papers to this effect, and they're having to recognize this somewhere around 10, 15 years ago, even the top evolutionary biologist, according to H-index, which would be Eugene Koonin, his lead author,
Oh Wolf, my God,
Yuri Wolf, he and his lead author pointed out the dominant mode of evolution is genome reduction. That's if you look at the historical past with their...
He's talking about bacteria again. I don't know. Anyway, I think we're done with them. There are a couple gems, I think, at the end. Let me take a look. Sirens, okay, Ratchet, Kunin. Kunin's deity is stupid. Kondrashev talks about Kondrashev, who wrote a book on the crumbling genome, and Kondrashev's whole point was that our culture may be hurting the human genome. It was not a point against evolution. It wasn't about entropy. It wasn't about genetic entropy. Doesn't happen. Could happen to humans. Species go extinct. That happens. Oh, and then at the very end, he does this guy.
I fundamentally think that's why there is resistance. But true science is marching forward, and it's painful, this process.
Yeah,
but
we just don't know
some
yet.
people are acknowledging the truth, and some are paying for it, like evolutionary biologist Richard Sternberg, who's calling it out. He knew.
Richard Sternberg is not an ideator. He's not a young Earth creationist. He's the guy that got had the lawsuit with, I think, the Natural History Museum or something. I think that was where it was, and he was mentioned in that Ben Stein's Expelled movie, because he published one of Meyer's papers, and he claimed that he had other reviewers okay it, but he reviewed it himself, and he got some pushback, and they wrote some emails about him, and he wasn't treated kindly. But anyway, he had resigned from that position even before Myers published that paper. So he had a consultancy that was unpaid. He never lost his job. He went on to continue to consult for them. Okay. But he just wasn't in the same position because it had already been decided that he was going to move on prior to the paper being published. So it was all bullshit. And they had a congressional hearing on it, and they had a court case, and it was dismissed as really no evidence here. I think they came up with some sort of settlement or something like that. But that's just all bullshit, and that's typical of these people. And that's about it for Cell. And then he goes on and talks about cars for the next 20 minutes.
Cars? What, the band, or
huh?
How the band, or how the Model T Ford has evolved?
No, he's learning how to fix cars, and he goes on and shows his wrenches and shows the tools he bought and all that stuff. It's just
yeah. There you go, showing his intellectual level right there.
Yep. Yeah. Anyway, enough of him for now. But
hey, that's interesting, though. That was interesting. I feel I've learnt nothing, but at the same time, I feel like I've expunged some of my thing. I'll ask you a question, and since we've got a little bit of time left. So one of the things I ruminated on, and this is please remember I gave biology up when I was 13.
Okay.
So I have very seriously lack of knowledge on this subject. But then I thought to myself, oh look, well, as humans have dominated and become apex predators, effectively one of the things we've done is neutralize the environment changing. Right, we're living in modern houses which are clean. They're all, we're all using the same cleaning products. Anti-disinfectants. We're not allowing the environment to get in it. Like when I was a kid, people used to say, "Oh no, it's good if you eat a bit of dirt." Gives you bugs. People used to say things like, well, you need your mother's milk because that's got lots of bacteria in it, which is really important for your immune system. And yet nowadays we go on to like modern ideas of like what do they call pasteurized milk and stuff for kids or whatever. So you kill all the bacteria. So that's and so in effect, we're doing away with the changing environment that we used to, or being susceptible to environmental change, because we're nuclear. So what's that going to do for the human race? So it's going to stop us. That's going to slow evolution down, presumably.
Yeah, it's going to probably stabilize our genome and our characteristics. We're not going to change because there's no reason to. And then there's a population size that we have. We're enormous, and we're spread out, all over the whole fucking world. And we do create our own niche, our own environment. So we're probably, on average, not going to. We're just going to keep moving within the amount of health we need to live in the environment we live in. If you like 1,000 years from now, if you let us go into the wild, we'll probably die in about 25 minutes. But that happens all the time to species. They end up in a stable environment for a very long period of time, right? And then all of a sudden the environment changes, they go extinct. And it could happen to us if we lost our ability to create our own niche, right?
Yeah.
Our niche.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
and that's what Kondratyev and the other people were going on about. They were worried that perhaps our culture is screwing our genome up overall. But the conclusion of his book is we don't know. We don't know how this is going to work out. But
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, it'll be what it is. Also, just to say this, our brains, are evolved to work at a certain temperature. We have very sophisticated temperature varying abilities to vary our temperature, to cool down if we're too hot, or to heat up if we're too cold. Our brains work at a particular range, presumably, of a temperature. Certainly, it's not hugely wide. So, I mean, as we progress into global warming and the temperature of the planet rises by several degrees, that's going to surely affect the efficiency at which our brains work, presumably. As we become hotter and hotter, we're going to have to either develop more other ways to cool down, which I can't see how we can do because we're already pretty efficient at doing that anyway, or we're going to have to develop some protection against, or our brains are going to have to work out how to operate efficiently at higher temperatures.
Yeah.
So what's the likely, when you think about things like that, what would you say is the likely outcome? Do you think that's just, no, we're going to fry our brains and there's nothing more we can do to vary the temperature other than externally? Or is it that, no, it's only the rich that can afford to keep their brains cooler that are going to really survive? So.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the rich are going to be able to pull it off either long term because they need all of us to produce the like microelectronics and stuff like that. They're not going to do it. Like rich people aren't going to sit around and create circuit boards and basically create technology. And if the climate does, significantly change, we're fucked. We're gonna die back to a small core population and start over again, probably, or go completely extinct if a virus hits us. Like it would take one virus, and if we went down to a real sparse population, even viruses couldn't get us. So the chances are that there will be some human tribes here and there that make it, but it's going to be a different situation. If temperatures get, 120 and above, regularly, and we lose our technology, I don't see any choice for us other than to die out. I don't think we'd be able to handle it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty dark.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I heard Europe is warming more rapidly than
certainly central. Yeah, certainly Central Europe is having ridiculous temperatures now. They're really suffering, and of course, but still, I mean, one of the things that was predicted a while ago, interestingly enough, was like if the North Pole melts, right? That's all fresh water that gets dumped into the North Atlantic and North Sea, right? And that could potentially have the consequence of reversing the what's the name of the stream that comes up from Jamaica through the Atlantic?
I don't know.
There's a name. If someone could tell me the name.
I know so little about weather.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a stream that comes up from Jamaica and it travels all the way up to the west coast of Great Britain. It's what makes Cornwall a relatively tropical place compared to the rest of Britain. The Gulf Stream, is it? Yeah. Okay. Gulf Stream. Thank you, guys.
Okay. I could have guessed that one. Yeah.
Anyway, if all this fresh water gets dumped into the North Atlantic, right, then it's that all sinks.
Yeah.
And that will stop the Gulf Stream. So potentially northern Europe will become colder because we'll be getting streams from Russia, etc.
And we could end up with glaciers again, which form very slowly though. It takes a while. So we got Night of Kadash is doing some stuff here. What does he have to say? You think that because you don't believe in God, your alternative view that the universe is a meaningless accident requires zero evidence. I don't think the universe is a meaningless accident. I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
And I also don't think that anybody in the cosmological side of the science thinks that it's an accident in terms of it doesn't need an explanation.
It's interesting how whenever we talk evolution, we always get one or two of these folks in here that want us to change the subject because now they want us to talk about why is there something rather than nothing.
Do you want to come in, Knights of Kadash, and tell us what you think? When challenged for evidence on their cosmic accident fairy tale, retreat to agnosticism. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't believe in cosmic accident. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's see. Must be exhausting pretending a godless cosmos doesn't entail that your genius insights are just random neuron firings. Okay, so you're an idiot. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. This is just garbage. Let's see what else.
Real quick, I did a little search and asked to see like the 10 major cities in Central Europe and what the high temperatures were. And they could be Texas. And I don't mean that as an insult. I just mean like today we had like 99 degrees, but a lot of these places had 95 degrees, 93, 96. A couple of them just hit 88. But I don't know how that compares to the normal for summer in Central Europe. But they're getting pretty hot.
I mean, Central Europe has always had hot summers because there's no coastlines. Right, it's in the middle of a massive landmass, right? So that's why they always there's nothing to once the wind stops they just heat up and heat up and heat up. The land doesn't cool down very much, so the next day gets hotter, etc. But and that's been pretty common, right? My feelings, having lived a life in the same place. Is that this particular summer has had longer periods of heat or higher heat in the mid to high 30s than any other summer since probably 76 or 77. I think those were 2 hot years. But then it was hot last year as well. And we haven't had snow now for 10 years. So, these are just incidences, right? And it's global warming, right? So it's not that any one place is going to give you the definitive answer, right? Very much like a population thing. But my feeling is that it's this is the worst year. But maybe that's just because I'm older now. Maybe I feel the heat more than when I was a kid, So Who knows? Who knows? But I mean, we're on a hosepipe ban again. Haven't had a hosepipe ban since the 70s. So our water table has just disappeared. You know, and that's alarming. It's alarming, not unusual, but alarming. And so,
Yeah.
I think it's a sure done thing that it's going to go in one direction, although it'll go up and down, of course, because it's weather, it's chaotic. So we can't rely on it just being like a physics graph, like the Hubble constant or something like that. It's going to go up and down and up and down. You know, we've had mini ice ages, right? 400 years ago, there was a mini ice age, tried to start. And we're well overdue, aren't we? And that's the other thing. We're well overdue for another ice age. It's like we just missed one out completely, having had a whole series every, whatever it is, 90,000 years or 100,000 years, whatever it is. So,
yeah, accident in this context is shorthanded for unguided, unintended, purposeless, blind process. No, it's not blind. Okay, it's causal. Everything's causal.
He's talking about Dawkins, of course. Unguided, no, there are forces, like in physics. We've discovered particular energies have particular particles which relate to particular fields, which are forces. So that's a guiding force of some description. It's not guided by mind; it's guided by nature. But there you go. Unintended, yeah. Well, intention is an axiological term, and we don't think that there is an agent controlling everything. Purposeless, yes, we think it is purposeless because again, purpose is an agental thing, and we don't think there is an agental thing controlling everything. We think it's natural things that control things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you're not wrong in some of what you're doing. You're just throwing in words which you don't really understand. You know how they are used in the lexicon of language. These are mostly axiological explanations, and we don't use the word accident because that implies agency. So all of the language you're using about this is just it's just a presupposition of God, right? And because we're atheists, that's the one thing we do not believe in at the very least, or belief does not exist, depending on which definition you want to use. So all of this it doesn't make any sense to me. This is not what we assert because we're atheists. We never assert accidental things. We never assert unintended. We never assert purposeless. You know. Well, I mean, we never assert purpose. We never assert, guided. We never assert these things, right? So when we use these are people pushing back against the idea that God did it, not against how the actual systems work. I should say it that way around, really.
This one is interesting.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you're treating your own philosophical conclusions as the default setting of reality. Yes, the default setting of reality is naturalism. Now, when you get up in the morning, Kadash, what supernatural intervention happens to you from the time you get up, make breakfast, go pee, and go to work? Where's the supernatural intervention? Is everything natural and causal, or is there some supernatural intervention going on? I don't know. Other than your own mind, which would be something that humans do. But if you look at a group of squirrels, right? Okay, squirrels have intent, right?
Sorry, yeah.
They intend to get acorns. So out in my oak trees today, the squirrels are having one of those wars when the acorns start to fall. A whole bunch of squirrels from another community come and they have these fights. You wouldn't believe. They're like they do like raids or something for territory. I don't know what the hell. And they're running around trees and they knock each other out of trees and they're screaming. But anyway, so if you look at the woods, what is the default setting out in the woods? Is it supernatural intervention that you see out there? I don't see any of it. So the default setting is naturalism. It's not a worldview. It's just what we find. It's how we how we grew up to understand reality. That is all natural. Nothing supernatural except in your little fucking head.
Yeah, it's also a simpler explanation as well. So there's that as well. It's just parsimonious to think of it that way.
Yeah, you don't have to defend the belief that the universe, random things happen in the universe. I mean, go out and walk through the forest, and if a branch hits you in the face, is that a supernatural intervention, or is that like a natural thing that happens to you? I don't know. It's not a fucking worldview. Naturalism is not a worldview. It's what we found to be true.
Mike's just explained why there's reasons to believe naturalism. I've just given you a philosophical argument as to why there's reasons to believe in it. So you don't have to believe it. No one's saying you have to, right? But we are giving reasons. So.
The way of the squirrel. Yep. Don't mess with the squirrels, Mike. We might have to abandon this dimension. I know they're scary. They're frightening. But boy, they're having a hell of a war out there. There was one time I was taking a nap and the squirrels decided to have the mother of all wars out in the trees. And I looked out and I saw like 3 or 4 squirrels getting knocked out and falling 20 feet to the ground. And it was like, what the hell are you assholes doing? There's a lot of acorns.
Yeah.
And all they do is they grab them and they put them in a pile and they go hide them, right? And they run back and get some more. It's like, Jesus Christ, guys! You know, I think they need anger management courses or something. I don't know. Fucking squirrels. They need to eat some of those mushrooms. They'll stop fighting. Anyway, lots more to say on that, but this guy is kind of a tosser. Anyway.
Well, whatever. He's entitled to his view. Much fun.
He is entitled to his view, but it's his view is all about our view. Like he knows what goes on in our minds and how we, what we're doing wrong and all this bullshit. And it's like his view is a lot about what our view is. And I kind of push back on that.
Like I say, his view is evidence for lazy minds, as Peter Atkins always says. And so that's a shout out to you, Dave.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
Thank you very much. Everybody, if you could please like and subscribe, that would be wonderful. And I believe who's got something on next? Somebody wrote it in the chat that they're going over. Earl, if you're still listening, could you just tell us who it is that's got the hangout next?
Somebody's going live? Yeah.
Somebody's going live. Say again, Scott?
I think I Killed Earl said they were going
Who?
Live at 8.
Who?
Killed Earl.
I Killed Earl.
No, not who said it. Which channel was it?
I thought it was not.
I thought she was on a different one.
Oh, I thought it was the Herd channel.
Oh, okay. In that case, everybody go over to I Killed Earl. Let me just see if I can find where are you? Skeptic Philosophy says he's on tomorrow, of course. That's normally at
3 p.m. Central.
Yeah, about 3 hours before now, something like 3.5 hours before now, whatever your time in the world is right now. And let me find Earl. Come on, Earl.
This is I Killed Earl, and I'm looking at live. Let's see if I got something here. Upcoming at 7 p.m. today. Let me go ahead and put that up there. Copy link address.
Yeah, 7 p.m. is how long away from now?
When is 7 p.m.? That's a half an hour. Yeah.
Okay.
There it is.
Half an hour from now?
Yeah.
Everybody head over there. Please remember to like and subscribe over there.
The video is called She's Big Mad. Somebody's big mad. So.
Okay.
Big mad. Big mad. Anyway. Okay, guys. I'm about done. Maybe I should find better videos. I don't know. I'm open to suggestions. What we should do.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like to get into some serious topics a little bit, but
yeah, maybe a slightly higher brow would be good.
We can look at that Molly Worthen video next week.
Okay, we'll do that.
But, you know,
You've been wanting to do
remember,
that.
I would say, you know, I'm on here because I'm a joker. So just take that for
a
if we do
smoker,
highbrow.
joker.
Yeah, a midnight. So I'm going to be still taking the piss even if it's highbrow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Anyway, thanks very much, everybody. Remember to like and subscribe. How many are we at the moment? Let me just check that.
Oh, it's
We need
937.
937. We need
938 now. Thank you for whoever that was that just subscribed.
Nice.
We've done
really appreciate that.
week.
We really want to see those subscriptions because we're trying to get to 1,000 on Mike's channel. And
that way, on his tombstone, we can put he reached 1,000 subscriptions.
Reach 1,000, right?
Yeah, apparently we're just going to get him a YouTube 1,000 subscribers badge.
Yeah.
We're just going to glue that to these tombstones. So that's fine.
Yeah. Also, on my tombstone, since I've been a little kid, I eat something called choke cherries. They're like Bing cherries, except they're really tiny and they leave your mouth puckery. And they grow in the northern states in America. I'm not sure if you got them over there, Simos.
No, we don't have the northern states of America.
Oh, they're wonderful. And anyway, so I was reading about them on Google, and it said don't swallow the seeds. And I eat them whole and swallow the seeds because they have cyanide in them. And I've been doing that ever since I've been through, probably since I was 2 years old.
Wow.
Okay. And anyway, my sister said, yeah, you're going to digest them, and that's going to kill you. And I'm like, oh, my God, that would be so wonderful. You could put that on my tombstone, killed by choke cherries. I just love that. I would be so thrilled. Yeah. And they could do a little, they could etch a little, like the leaves and the berries onto my tombstone. It'd be so pretty.
No, there's a long history of people committing suicide with cyanide.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if they've committed suicide by eating choke cherries. I don't know.
No.
Anyway, I've got a gallon and a half. I've got a gallon and a half in the fridge, and I'm going to go eat about 500 of them now. And we'll see what happens. Right. But hopefully, I'll reach 1,000.
Apparently, Robert has gained total victory with his electric pixie argument. I just want to congratulate him.
Yeah. That's a fantastic argument, even though I don't understand it.
Electric pixie. Oh, cool. Okay. Anyway, we're out of here, guys.
Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate everybody in the chat, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week when we'll have an equally entertaining video.
Everybody have a good week.
Yep,
take care.
Good week.
And you guys, I want to speak to you just after when we go off air.
Goodbye, cruel world.